Hello everyone, I'm Steven. Today I'm going to do Galois question 4. Hope you enjoyed this video and make sure to subscribe my channel. Let's get into the question now. In an n times n grid of unit squares, each point at which two grid lines meet is called a vertex. So there are n plus 1 squared vertices. The top left corner vertex is labeled A and the bottom right corner vertex is labeled B. A path from A to B is a sequence of unit edges that each connect with two adjacent vertices and, when connected, form a sequence of vertices that begins at A and ends at B, and passes through each vertex at most once. The length of such a path is the number of unit edges in the path. For example, in a 3 times 3 grid, a path of length 12 between A and B is as shown. And part A is in a 2 times 2 grid, determine the number of paths of any length from A to B. And part B is explain why there cannot be a path from A to B of odd length in a 10 times 10 grid. And part C is in a 4 times 4 grid, determine the number of paths of length 10 from A to B. Let's get into part A now. So the shortest path length would be 4 in a 2 times 2 grid, and the longest path would be 8. Also, the path lengths could only be even numbers, so the only possible path lengths are 4, 6, and 8. And there are 4 choose 2, which equals to 6 possible paths for path lengths of 4. And there are 4 possible paths for path lengths of 6. And there are 2 possible paths for path lengths of 8. So in total, there are 6 plus 4 plus 2, which equals to 12 possible paths in a 2 times 2 grid. Let's get into part B now. Explain why there cannot be a path from A to B of odd length in a 10 times 10 grid. So let A, B, C, and D be how many downward, upward, rightward, and leftward of unit paths respectively. Then we'll have A minus B equals to 10 and C minus D equals to 10. And since A minus B is even, then A plus B is also even. And also, since C minus D is even, then C plus D is also even. Since we know that A plus B and C plus D are both even, then we can know that A plus B plus C plus D is an even number. So the path lengths could only be even, it can't be odd. Let's get into part C now. In a 4 times 4 grid, determine the number of paths of length 10 from A to B. So let A, B, C, and D be how many downward, upward, rightward, and leftward of unit paths respectively. Then we'll have A minus B equals to 4 and C minus D equals to 4. Also, we'll have A plus B plus C plus D equals to 10. So there will be 2 sets of solutions to this, which are 4, 0, 5, 1, and 5, 1, 4, 0. So the first set represents 4 down, 0 up, 5 right, 1 left. And the second set represents 5 down, 1 up, 4 right, and 0 left. So if we make a reflection over symmetry from A to B, we'll have a path in set 1 to set 2, which means we only need to find the number in set 1 and multiply it by 2, and we'll have the answer. So now let's make a sequence with 4 D's, 5 R's, and 1 L to represent each path, for which D represents downward, R represents rightward, and L represents leftward. So if there is R immediately in front of L, then you'll travel to the same vertex twice. So there must be a D immediately in front of L. And if there is a R immediately follows the L, it will also travels to the same vertex twice. So the D must immediately follows the L. And if there is no R in front of the L, then you'll go off of the grid. And if there is no R after the L, then that means all 5 R's are before the L, which means you'll also go off of a grid. So our sequence must satisfy all these 4 conditions. So let X be DLD. So then we need to put in 2 D's, 5 R's, and 1 X. And there must be 1 R in front and behind X. So now let's put in 2 D's, and there are 8 choose 2, which equals to 28 ways. And then for the remaining 6 positions, X can't be the first place or the last position. So you have 4 choices. So then there are 28 times 4, which equals to 112 ways. So that means our answer should be 112 times 2, which equals to 224. And there we have our answer. In order to solve this problem, you need some simple combinatorics skills. Hope you enjoyed this video and make sure to subscribe my channel.